Okay, guys, so long time no see, and this is Xiao Huang, and then today I'll be talking about a couple of things. You guys might seen this, some of you guys might know this, and yeah, I will go through like a little bit of it, but if you guys want a specific video about these things, just ask me on Discord, and I'll make a full explanation about this whole texture thing. And yeah, and I also explain a little bit about the tactics where I think King or Angels and Turks were having a conversation on Discord. So yeah, first thing first, thanks to Robo Jones and One Flinger or Mint or Cool Manual for the support. So yeah, for people when people talk about kiters, they just think it's a shield movable thing that shoot 360 and then with a quite high DPS or some might like just extreme like weapon spam, but like in fact this whole spider net thing is what character really is. Just making examples. So think as the Mark One, which is the original one, which is the U type, which you can see as the is a torpedo. This is a torpedo version with 360 shield, a little bit. I will take it as like 140-ish movement speed, and with the E cap or stable cap capacitor. So that's a very just basic version one. And then we're moving to the like another kiter, which here is also E stable, but with decreasing shield but increasing of the mobility. This is a G type, which is Mark 14. I created like a few months before. Those two are also they are all kiters, but like their playstyles are completely different because of this like little bit movement speed that it gives you. You can like flank a bit more, and then you can like be less like afraid of like pull wave, for example. Like these days pull wave titans are pretty popular. So this slight little changes can just affect your entire playstyle. And then all right, so now we're moving to the A type. So for the A type, you can see just basically like two torpedo, like not very efficient torpedo cutters that put them together, and then with the share mode of two turrets. For these things is basically, for A type it is designed for doing massive damage output, and then also like anti cards because of having one more turret. Because right now most turrets you can see here, like most cutters, they only have one turret, but by having two turrets, that means you have one more guns to shoot at an enemy. Then it is a huge thing, because like with one more turret, even though with pull waves or plasmas, that you're very like the spam is there will be more spams. Also, like your DPS is higher, and you'll be more like more easier to overwhelm the enemy in the beginning of the game. And then we're moving into the neutral, the N type. The N type, I remember it was Mark 13. So basically, N type was designed followed by the E type. Yeah, so basically it's a dual turret, which this tank you can play as a somewhat like a tank or mobile tank if needed, because you have the front turret that will also give you some DPS, and you can just flank into the enemy and rush into the enemy. And if you are remove the front turrets, then it's pretty much like E stable. Like for example, let me just see here. For example, this one is negative 1955. So I would say it's E stable without firing the first turret, which means if you're like turning around or wiggling, that your cutters are also able to regenerate energy. And moving to the new cutter, which is the latest one, which is Type 7. By looking at it, you might be very confusing. Of course, like a ring on cutter is like, what the hell? And I've asked a lot of people, and people don't understand why I do this. So basically, let me focus down this way. So basically, Type 7 is like a brand new version for the for Type N, and they have some pretty similar like points. And as I speak, because of what was 15 was G type, for a G type, that it increased the a movement speed and decrease the survivability. It gives them extremely like good advantage when against those frontline tanks, but also due to the mobility, like those days pull waves, it really decreased, like it really limited the Kiters versus Kiters combat capability because of like you have lesser tonnage and also lesser hit pool. So basically, when the clash or dogfight happens, you're not getting any upper hand on it because you have lesser hit points. And for this thing, for Type 7, that it might seem all confusion because I've been talking to people that I put 7 mod into Kiters. I mean, by looking at it, it's like not castable, and people are like, what the hell? And then some people might think about me like using the string to run those Kiters, but actually, it is not how it works. So basically, from the G type, which has an extremely good damage output with poor stability, I was trying to think like, is there a way that to maintain this a 300 shield Kiters with like RS speed, like average speed of 140, and also not losing like too much mobilities and such. I mean, the first one as the U type, you can see that it has some like, I mean, the movement speed is not that fancy, and it works, but it dropped below the average speed. So for this one, I was trying to like to make it 140 plus, but however, because of the energy usage too large, and I have to sacrifice some shield, or then it will make it like 300 minus, like lesser than 300 shields. So I was thinking about like, is there a way that to decrease the energy a bit, but like not losing the entire efficiency of the turret? Then I come up with the idea that to mode share the main turret, which I put a turret and given 2 mode shares on this like mode share this, so it will reduce the reload speed and it reduce the DPS, but however also decrease the energy usage. For example, for the U type, you can see that the energy usage is 2020 and for 48 DPS, and for this one it drops to 42 DPS, which is I would say a 5.3 DPS decrease, but however the energy usage also decreases. And if we use a calculator to calculate that, I will just count that thing as 1956 plus the thrusters, which is 576, and it will give you 2532, which is the energy, like you will actually generate a bit more than this thing. It will means that your ship will be able to regenerating all while firing, which is a very decent time with some like minor DPS lossage. And now we're looking to Mint's ship. I'm just gonna type it here, Mint. And it is a very interesting ship for me because I mean for the large shield type, it will be, I would say it is some uplift. I think it was around H type, which Magnus gave me the ideas of using the large shield, and it is not cap stable, which I mean for this thing, if you have a large shield generator, then it is alright if you're not stable. But and then by putting armor, I mean it is a very aggressive ship, as I can say. That's all I can say for now. It is a very aggressive ship. So basically, if you put your armor onto your Kiter, then it means that like your total tonnage and your total hit pool will be more than the other of Kiters. Then you would like to like do some early aggressive move, for example, like rush in or like get a pull wave to scramble the enemy Kiters and then just rush it, because you're probably like gonna take a lot of damage, but taking a lot of damage but killing the enemy Kiters, it is more important than taking a lot of damage. So yeah, it's a very aggressive Kiter, and then the large shields will give you very fast shield regeneration when you're taking hit, when you're in a like aggressive fighting or something. It is and there's a advanced shield generator. Wait a second. No, I don't get it. Like This is very strange. I mean, why would you like to get advanced shield generator? I don't get it. Like this totally doesn't make any sense. If I was him, then I would just probably remove this thing and then just put two like small shields onto it, or like probably one more. Then I mean, is it gonna boost up to? Yeah, it will make it somewhere around 300. That would be better. I mean, for the advanced shield generator, I really don't get it, but like I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a incredible machine. It's a very aggressive ship. I mean, but for the advanced shield generator, I don't get it. I don't really don't get it. So basically, it's like for heavy shield generator, you will be regenerating 16 each shield as always, and if you're cap stable, then I mean, if the large shield kicks in, I mean, I'm just gonna use it as large shield. If the large shield kicks in, then it will start to drain energy and then drain your energy to half, and then whatever the amount of energy that it is free, it will convert into the shield energy. So it's probably not be generating like at 6 inch, but like around 4 or 8 or something, constantly, because like those little bit like overuse of energy. And for this thing, it will just keep draining and make the large shield completely malfunction. I mean, at the start it could add up to like around 17 or 18 regeneration, but I really don't get a point of like putting a large shield and then an advanced shield generator. Or this ship is made for the Section 31. I mean, for Section 31, it will be making sense that if you have this kind of structures, but for the normal these days, I mean, I probably like Section 31 will never happen. For nowadays, this just doesn't make any sense, and by having two small shield works definitely better. I mean, it's a extremely aggressive ship, and yeah, that's all I can say. I mean, in longer runs, as long as like, for example, in 33 there's a proper front line for teammates, you are not really gonna have a huge advantage of this fleet. And also, for example, fighting against the A-type or Type 7, or anything that have like more DPS than 48, then you're gonna have a huge trouble. I mean, for this kind of fighters, I mean, you can pretty much kill the U-type and G-type pretty quickly, hence they're just normal fighters without like any specific aggressive add-ons. And probably G-type like more easy, hence I mean it's just a weaker version but like faster version for fighters, and your PvP just can grab it like very easily and just kill it. But for like anything above that, is above like 48 DPS, you're gonna have a really hard time. Also, the large shield doesn't protect you from the heavy beams. So basically, counter heavy beams, you need to like have like strong capacities. For example, like the normal N type for plasma, it will have around like 340 shields, and then for the Mark III T type, you have around 400 shield, which you can tank 8 shots. I remember, wait, just give me a second. So 38 DPS 400 divided by 38 will be, you can pretty much tank 5, like if you're a dual 4-inch HP, you can pretty much tank like 5,000 DPS for just nothing. And then if you have 300 divided by 38, then it will be like around 7, so we choose 3, or yeah, I would say 3, but like it probably could be 4 because it's almost 7, and then also if the burst is not instant, then you can tank like dual HP, like those like slayers. I mean, making like 4,000 damage like nothing. I mean, it totally works. But for this ship, 288 divided by 38, I mean, it will pretty much get the same result, but however, it is more easy to get penetrated, but at least you have some armor. So I would think it is fine. And Yeah, I mean, aggressive kiters. I'll move something about the tactics thing. So, Mint and not Mint, sorry, Turks and Angels was discussing about like tactics and strategy. So, what I say about the micro and macro, what I mean is micro is basically when you're dot shot on a battlefield, and the macro is how are you gonna like form your fleet, and also how you're gonna play out. Just for example, like look at this. So basically, enemy is going pretty like full on anti-carrier builds, like those HBs, those extremely like pull focused tanks, and our teams are doing pretty much the same. So, what are you going to do? Enemy also have cutter. It's the exactly same like build ups. So what are you going to do? So most people will think that I'm just gonna like do pulls or something, like to try to tangle the enemy tanks or tangle enemy like cutter or something to like grab them. I mean, it could work, but in this scenario, hence like the enemy have no actual like damage output, and then my team also doesn't have any output. When the later on the battlefield develops and when there's a clash, and the both tank will have a hard time on killing each other. So for me, that I decided to like do damage output instead of doing pulls. And yeah, later on in the battlefield, I'm just gonna quick skip it. There's some zigzag from the heavy beams, and nothing too much is going on. Yeah, still going. And here it goes. So basically, what happened is, like the tanks started to colliding, and then everyone is like, doesn't have the damage output to kill each other. So that's where like like for a damage output really shines, because I mean look at Mint and look at me. It's like, yeah, I mean it's taking like around a minute or something to kill one tank. For me it's like 5 or 10 seconds. So basically I can kill the enemy team faster than Mint. I mean this for me now is like already a second ship gone, and then Mint was like, yeah, only a first ship. So having like killing the enemy ship faster, and then it will allow like my teammate like have more tanks to be alive. And also, I mean, having more tanks means map control, so I mean it means a lot of things. And even though in the very end game, because I see like enemy have no DPS, I just ran into like Mint's fleet, which I mean I know that he doesn't have enough DPS for me, and then he's like mainly focusing on the pull wave build. So I mean, the utilities doesn't really matter here, just pure DPS. So I mean, I would call that a macro perspective for his children. And yeah, I mean, if you guys like more of this kind of video, please let me know. And that's about today's video.